What is going on, everybody? It is episode 597 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I don't know if we mentioned this yesterday, but if we didn't, thank you for helping us reach 110K subscribers. Thank you for helping us out in that way. We really appreciate it. And on to the next arbitrary milestone, I guess.
They're all arbitrary.
Also, happy Woman Wednesday. It's here again. And Sara, of course, is joining us.
Hey, guys. I'm happy to be back. Happy Women Wednesday. Yeah, check us out on Casper.com. And yeah.
They like women over there on Casper.com?
They love women, apparently.
It's coffee for women.
Yeah.
Oh.
We've been needing a coffee brand that's just for women.
It's a woman-run business.
It actually
technically.
Well, yeah, technically.
So, like, make your periods less severe?
Wow.
Way more.
What makes it for women? I don't know. Like the hell.
I'm starting to think this whole misogynist thing isn't an act, Brett. I'm a little bit taken aback
there.
I'm just asking questions, as they say. I'm just asking questions.
Very pointed questions.
Guys, I'm waiting to get a response back, but it looks like the crisis meter is, of course, not updating because why would things go well 3 days in a row? That would just be
With
freaking-
two women always something.
There are women here, so it's very possible that, you know, sometimes things just don't work when women are around.
It really is always something.
It is always something. So I sent Chris a message. Hopefully he will get back to us and get it updated or something. I don't know if the service is out, but I will keep a close eye as much as I can on where we are because we want to get to we want to keep getting those crisis parties again. In the future, we're going to try and set goals for crisis parties so that we can possibly do longer shows or other such stretch goals, things like that we can achieve. So that will be awesome. But before we get started, guys, again, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. And share these videos with your friends because the best way that you can help this show grow is to share the videos out and get us on those recommended pages so that more people can see our segments. I've been crunching numbers and looking at our, you kind of have to do that sometime, look at the analytics for the channel, and it's been growing. So thank you guys so much for that. Remember that all Super Chats, $20 and over, we will do our very best to read those right then and there, and then we will get back right on topic as quick as we can, so that will be awesome. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, Kanye West, again, I don't even know how much we can even say dude's name because it seems like every time we do a topic talking about this dude, we end up getting shadow banned of some sort. He is going into a new business, and this one actually shouldn't be all that surprising to you if you've been paying attention to his antics over the last year. He's going to start his own corn company.
I'm sure he's going to invite Michelle Obama in on the deal.
That's very possible. I saw that yesterday. He wants to have a threesome with Michelle Obama.
What's the Obama media company, production company?
I don't know the name of it. I just know that he produces movies for Netflix.
I'm sensing a collab in the air.
They could do that. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Megan Thee Stallion is being sued. We put it as Me Too. I don't know if it's like Me Too adjacent. Essentially, she was in the back of a car on tour in Ibiza, and she started having sex with a coworker in the car, and a cameraman that works for her was just there and not able to get out of the car, and now he's suing her. Basically,
imagine
saying,
he literally jumps out of a moving car
just like, get
onto
me
the
away
Spanish
from
countryside.
This. And then apparently when it was done, she told him never speak of this again, and then fat shamed him. So it's rough. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the science. The science is back, and this time...
we believe the science.
The science has proven, without a shadow of a doubt, that pretty privilege is, in fact, very real. And Mary would say that is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
It's a good thing. So we're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into. So if you ladies are ready, we will just go ahead and get started. You ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
We're both ready. Let's go ahead and get started then. First things first, I find this one just a tad wholesome. If you've ever had those those little libraries in your neighborhood where people put up the little...
I love those things.
Yeah.
Take a book.
Little
leave a book.
libraries.
Yeah, little library. Well, now they've got Little Blockbuster.
I'm looking
leave a video.
at this photo of the Little Blockbuster, and I'm trying so hard to make out what the movie titles are in here.
Can't see them.
Yeah, whether this is wholesome or not totally depends on what movies are inside this box.
I see Mission Impossible too.
And it's in Canada,
Men in
so
Black, maybe?
they're already on watch.
Yeah,
MIB?
I got a couple there. Yeah, there's some good ones in there.
Well, the little libraries, I've never used them. I've never taken a book from one of those.
It's a good way to tell what you're so you never see that meme. It's like when you see someone like this, your rent is about to go up. When you see people, my favorite one's like when you see people running for fun, your rent is about to go up.
If you see a little library,
yeah, so no, there's a certain type. So when you see a little library that has like the lights on the inside, and it looks like it was made by some type of master carpenter, those ones indicate that that your rent is about to go up.
Memory unlocked. I did actually use a little library, but I didn't put a book in. I just took the book because I'm literally a menace to society.
Yeah.
Oh, I got like a cookie cookbook.
We got a $20 super chat here from AK Storm. Says, wanted your opinions. My job has a Hollywood film on site and requested volunteers for extras, 12 plus hours, provide your own costumes and no compensation. My opinion, hypocritical from Hollywood, and I hope no one volunteered.
Well,
Why?
Some people just see it as a way to take a day off work and just kind of stand around regardless of whether they get paid, right?
True.
Depends on if you're working a salary job or an hourly pay job.
My brother was an extra in the stands in Mighty Ducks, which was filmed in Minnesota.
Did he get paid?
Awesome.
I don't remember. I think they didn't get to keep the merch. I know that. Like the great thing is, like, if you watch that movie, they're wearing like Ducks and Hawks merch, like from the teams, as if back then, like elementary, like Pee-wee hockey teams had merch for their fans. I mean, you'd have like the team. You did. That's that. I'm not being fair. It's like it looked good though. It wasn't like the merch that you got from your local team.
So he got to keep it?
He didn't get to keep the merch. And
damn.
then so years later, I ended up finding like eBay has the merch like bootleg. You're getting it from a sweatshop in China,
Right.
basically. And now they've reproduced it like legally here in the U.S., but it costs a fortune.
Where are all of those props anyway?
Just in a
Is there
prop
some
house
kind
somewhere.
of? It's not like police evidence custody, right? Like
No.
it has to be somewhere, or they just throw it all away.
No, it's in
or?
a prop house somewhere. Like, I mean, they would
rotting
bring it back.
away?
Remember, I mean, Mighty Ducks came out in, 1992 or something? And they made that Mighty Ducks TV show that I don't remember anyone actually watching in 2021 or something. So that you got to keep that stuff. You got to keep it for later.
You never know.
I have the...
It's probably in a landfill somewhere.
I have... so
Indonesia.
what I have is I have an Adam Banks jersey from when he played for the Hawks in the current year of the film, and I have a Gordon Bombay jersey from when he played for the Hawks, which was technically chronologically in a flashback, so the jerseys were different back then. I have one of each.
Okay, cool.
Wait,
how did you
this,
get
how did this even come up? I forget.
Because we were
the
talking about-
extras
yeah,
thing.
the extras.
Well, is it hypocritical? I feel like Hollywood is like pretty transparent about the fact that they don't care about paying people.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's gonna happen. They're gonna, especially for extras. A lot of people who end up doing these jobs as extras might be wanting to break into the industry,
Right.
Things like that. And I mean, unpaid internships are a thing, and it's kind of crazy, but it exists. So,
Oh, we got another one from him saying, cannot be on your work day and it's 100% your own time. Food isn't even being provided by Hollywood, but our company cafeteria.
that's crazy.
Your
Yeah.
company is helping them. Is the company at least getting compensated? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What's the movie? That's the real question. What's the movie?
He's probably under strict confidentiality agreements.
Yeah, I can't speak on it.
Yeah.
So. I like this idea again. So I like in my neighborhood, not when I was a kid, but like before I moved out here, you didn't have the bougie like mini library. It was literally just like a plastic bin on the ground of a driveway of a neighborhood and said, leave a book, take a book.
But what if it rains?
Well, it had a cover on it. You just take the cover. It was like,
That would get really moldy really fast.
it was like a Rubbermaid box that with like books in it. No,
Brett's like, this is wholesome.
weather-
Mary's like, no.
It is wholesome. I mean, I don't know how often it got used, but
Right,
it was
right.
there, and they were at least trying. They
I
were
don't
doing their
remember
best.
that, but I do remember always having the take a book, leave a book things around. But I feel like they've increased as library attendance at least has decreased.
Well, they noticed because I was, again, just back in Minnesota, brand new library across from like where we went to get breakfast on Sunday in South St. Paul. I was like, where did they get the money for this? Who the hell's going to a brand?
Money
They already had a
laundering.
public library, so they moved it and opened a bigger one. Maybe that's good. Maybe that says something positive for literacy rates there.
Yay, higher taxes.
Yes. All right, let's move on. I say this is a good idea, and but yes, don't put any non-kid approved movies in there. You know, just like I imagine you have to go through those My Little libraries for like make sure there's no copies of Genderqueer. Got to pull them out and get rid of them. All right.
We actually kind of have that at the castle where there's so many spare books just laying around.
Yep. So if you guys remember a couple months ago, we covered this hilarious story where apparently Wendy's has lost their mind and they're going to go to surge pricing next year, like with your Uber, where in high traffic periods, you're going to pay more for your food than you would at other times. Well, now they've implemented artificial intelligence for their ordering system for the drive-thru. So AI menus.
Yeah.
Let's listen to this video.
Welcome to Wendy's. What would you like?
Can I have a chocolate frosty?
Which size for the chocolate frosty?
Medium.
Can I get you anything else today?
No, thank you.
It's definitely
Great.
slower than a real
Please pull up to the
drive-through.
next window.
Yes, but it doesn't ask
That's
you.
not-
But you don't have to say what 5 times when you can't when they're not loud enough to understand what they're saying, which happens all the time.
Which side do you drive? Like, which side is your good hearing side?
Well, it's on my good ear. My good
Okay,
ear
that's definitely like I think that's a you problem.
no, it's my good ear. That makes no sense. It's my good ear.
I never had that problem, but
Yeah.
like
Scratchy
this-
intercom, maybe.
this just seems like a way to be like, ooh, we're innovative and trendy and
Yeah.
we're like doing things so efficiently, but in reality, they implement it and it just makes everything slow, inefficient, and confusing for no reason.
The top comment says people with accents and it has that emoji there. Yeah.
yeah, that too.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be
People from
terrible.
Boston are about to be screwed.
And
Yeah, Siri cannot understand my dad. No way this AI drive-through will understand
Yeah.
what my father is saying.
Matt Walsh tweeted about this saying, unpopular opinion among conservatives anyway, but there probably need to be laws against this. AI is going to wipe out 80% of the jobs on the planet if we don't do something.
Okay,
What do you think?
where's
Is
it
that
getting?
is that a hot take from a conservative that the
Most conservatives seem to be like pro AI everything at the moment, which is
it's
weird
for efficiency's sake, I guess.
because obviously like conservatives are supposed to be more leaning toward the anachronistic, the nostalgia, simpler times, rose-colored glasses.
Simpler times when I could go
Except when it means AI does everything.
to the 50 style diner and a robot comes up and,
Yeah.
and serves me my food.
Which was charming for people who actually lived in the 1950s, like thinking about flying cars and stuff like that. Jetsons.
That will never happen. We're never going to get
Flying
there.
cars?
Yeah, we're not going to get
The trade-offs with innovation are just never worth it.
The fact that we haven't gotten
Yes.
jetpacks yet is a tragedy.
Yeah.
There's definitely a conspiracy going on that's keeping like consumer model jetpacks out of the public.
Because we
That's the
definitely
world
have
I
the
want to live
technology.
in.
Someone has for sure invented a jetpack before.
Like that's what I
used one.
want.
I think
want
it's happened like once.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought.
there's the dude at the Olympics, right? Who drove the jetpack over the stadium or whatever. That happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
All
All
I'm
the
thinking
time.
is,
It's
for
just-
me, I want to be able to just, then you have to have cops up there to like stop them if they're
the
drinking.
air
like,
cops.
like
The air cops.
flying under the flying under the influence. It's not good. It's not good. Well, fresh AI. It doesn't even sound like AI. It just sounds like an automated program based on voice prompts. But AI is a hot term right now.
Right, right.
So just be careful. I also saw some slander in my Twitter feed today saying that Wendy's wasn't that good, to which I said, you are wrong. You're wrong.
I mean, it's not the best.
It's okay.
It's good.
Their fries are just subpar.
That's where
Or
you
no,
get the Baconator
yeah.
fries with bacon and cheese.
Oh my.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to try
Clearly
that
you're
if I
the
ever go
expert.
there.
I am.
Yeah.
I am the expert in this. I am the expert. The other people, I like the sea salt fries, but I get your point.
They're soggy. They're too soggy for me. I can't.
Bad stuff. But just We're going to get that. We're going to get the surge pricing. And eventually you're not going to be able to get any food for a reasonable price because it's already $1 gazillion to get something at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? And what was it? The 5-layer burrito used to cost 89 cents. It's like $5 now at Taco Bell.
Highway robbery. Literally.
They're literally just running off with your money.
Yeah.
And to do that and paying surge pricing is insane. I had a feeling they were going to walk that one back, but maybe not.
I mean, it was such a strong response, but like, I guess people are just gonna settle for what's available. I mean, someone posted this article recently on Business Insider saying, and it was like, the photo was like her selfie at Olive Garden. Me and my family of 4 got a great value out of our $150 dinner at Olive Garden. $150 dinner for 4 at Olive Garden.
I just don't eat out anymore.
She's
it's
falling
insane.
for the propaganda.
It seriously, like
$150 to eat like garbage food.
Trying to see if maybe logging back in will.
Well, Brett insists that Olive Garden is not garbage, but it
No, I'm not like it tastes good. There's a lot of garbage food out there that tastes good, but like to pay $150
honestly, I'm not even sure if it does taste good. I'm not
I mean,
even.
how can you mess up pasta? I would hope it tastes good.
They put like, I swear they've got to put like corn syrup in their like Alfredo sauce or something weird like that. Something is just wrong about it.
I mean, it's
Brett, what are you doing?
It's Olive Garden.
You guys are talking. I'm trying to multitask here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Not distracting at all.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
okay.
Sorry.
All right, guys. So go ahead and keep a lookout for that if you do, in fact, go to Wendy's. I wouldn't do the surge pricing, though. Alec Baldwin. This is a photo from yesterday. If you don't remember, Crackhead Barney did, in fact, accost Alec Baldwin inside a coffee shop, telling him to basically show his support for Palestine, and he seemed to, not do that. He didn't seem interested in going along with what she said. And eventually she got so annoying that he like knocked the phone out of her hands. Well, this is a picture from him and the outside of the restaurant as they're of the coffee shop as they're leaving.
Scuffle spilled out onto the sidewalk in New York City. And now here's the funny part. It turns out Crackhead Barney, the performance artist, is the one who feels she was victimized and attacked. So she is reportedly considering pressing charges, but consulting lawyers. So this sounds like a lawsuit brewing right now. We got a $20 from Galen McKenzie. Just because I know that it titillates Brett to know casual listeners exist, y'all have been my standard white noise during my afternoon workouts. No real reason. Y'all just happened to be on at the time. Well done, folks. Love that you're perfectly ambivalent to us. Honestly, that's what we aim for. Just good enough. Just good enough. We don't have to be the best show out there, but good enough to tolerate.
It's literally, he's like, look, if I worked out at any other time, I wouldn't listen to you, but you just happen to be on at that time.
That's
and
great.
It's like I turn the dial and you're the first thing that comes on and I leave it. That's
thank you for your first super chat to the show.
Thank you so much. I can appreciate that. Was
Thanks for listening.
That is hilarious, and I do appreciate that. I find that to be fantastic.
That was like more than titillating. That like you were elated.
It was like saying that you're a casual listener. That's good. I love that. It's the part where he says basically he's like, look, no real reason. It just happened to be on at that time.
Yeah.
Like look, if it was Bill Maher on at 3, I'd listen to Bill Maher. If it was Tim, I'd listen to Tim. It's really whatever. I just put it on in the background.
But
don't hate you. Don't like you
guys.
much either.
I don't listen to a lot of like podcasts. Maybe it's because of like the deaf in one ear thing, but like I put music on in the background, but not because then I can't understand what I'm hearing. With music, that's fine. With podcasts, then I just kind of crane my neck to listen to like what am I not hearing now. I don't want to go away from something where it's like I click on a video where I feel like I'm actually, granted, I guess we don't cover stuff where people feel like they have to actually know, like learn something, but it's like I'm not going to put on a video where I feel like I need to learn something from it and then kind of just hope I hear it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That happens to me sometimes.
I mean, it's saying that this isn't something that's going to make me dumber, so I'm not going to change it.
I can't say whether we make you dumber or not. It's possible. I don't know how smart you are. That's the thing. I don't know how smart you are. I just read an article the other day that said IQs in America are dropping for the first time in decades.
Oh, no.
So I don't know how smart you guys are, but I could definitely be lowering your IQ.
I would love to know the average crisis actor IQ.
That would
It's
be
got to
good.
be above 180, right?
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Very
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
High IQ.
You need
people.
a certain IQ to understand this show. Tolerate this show.
Perfect.
To barely tolerate us.
So yeah, so she says that she's gonna possibly press charges, but in this case, it seemed more that they were saying it's gonna be a lawsuit.
Property damage, perhaps.
Phone got damaged.
There's no way that she's getting any money out of him, though. This is the
Well,
only thing that could have possibly made Alec Baldwin seem like a normal person.
I mean, I don't know if I would call him like people were saying like I can't believe I feel like bad for Alec Baldwin. No. Just because she's saying some stupid leftist crap about, that's very clearly designed to provoke, does not mean you feel bad for Alec Baldwin.
She's sending out more tweets to Alec Baldwin right now.
My goodness.
She said, "Since white men love me and are obsessed with me, Alec Baldwin, let's collaborate. We broke the internet." And she also said, "Me and Alec Baldwin should collaborate more. Hey, Alec, truce. Let's be friends and get coffee."
They could do like a 30 Rock skit. Good God, Crackhead.
I think name a more iconic duo.
Right? Two insufferable people.
They could get
let's be
real.
Tina Fey. I watched this is a complete aside. I watched like Muppets Most Wanted recently.
What is
where
that?
It's a Muppet movie where Kermit goes to the gulag. He goes to a Russian gulag and is replaced by by like another frog that looks just like him, who's a criminal with a Russian accent. And
That's amazing.
It was
Russian Kermit must sound
Kermit.
crazy.
It was great. And then you hear Russian Kermit try to do regular Kermit voice, and it's really basically what it is Russian Kermit has a mole, and he like sets up Kermit and like puts a fake mole on him that he can't get off. And after he escapes from the gulag, after Russian Kermit escapes from the gulag, and they throw Kermit back in the gulag, and the lady running the gulag is Tina Fey doing a horrible Russian accent. And it was amazing. It was like a fever dream. It came out in like 2014, and it stars Ricky Gervais as an evil manager who's working with evil Kermit to pull off a heist by taking the Muppets on tour. It was incredible.
Worth watching? Like, actually?
Yes, it was worth watching. Like, I didn't think it. I was never a huge Muppets fan.
I can't get into
Me
the
neither.
Muppets
Yeah, I'm not a
thing.
huge
But there was
Muppets person
something
either. When I was,
oddly
like, 3,
wholesome
yeah.
about dance. Basically, they have all the men in the gulag doing dance numbers.
Have the Muppets hosted SNL?
Danny Trejo is in there for some reason. Why is Danny Trejo in a Russian gulag? I have no idea, but he's there. It's great. I don't know. I'm sure they have.
That seems like it makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So in the chat, Sue says that's a bad representation of Russia. Well, it's not actually Russia because it's Tina Fey playing a Russian guard. So
It's anti-Russian propaganda.
it was
by the Muppets.
It was. So sorry, Alec, but you're not going to get any tears from me. He's not. All right. This is a discussion for you two because you've seen way more of Breaking Bad than me, as somebody who's only seen season 1 in a couple of seasons.
You never finished it?
No, God, no.
You should try.
Maybe.
It's a good show.
So-
well, Anna Gunn, who played Skyler in Breaking Bad, recently did an interview where she says public opinion of her character in the show is shifting over time. Like, we're 12 years out from the end of the show, and people are still talking about it and still making weird meme compilations of it on TikTok.
It is crazy that the show ended 12 years ago.
It's insane. Yeah, time flies. So here's what she said. People are finally being nicer to her about Skyler. People come up to me now and say, "You were the conscience of the show," or "The first time I watched it, I hated that character, but the second time I watched it, I realized, OMG, that poor woman." And I think that it's ridiculous she was getting hate in the first place, because if you play a character that is extremely unlikable, that is extremely hated, that means that you're a good actor. You're convincingly playing that character.
Nobody's saying that she's a bad person or that she's a bad actress. They're saying that they didn't like the character she portrayed.
No, she's saying people are being nicer to her about Skyler. So, like, she's implying that people were rude to her because she played a character they didn't like.
That happens all the time.
Yes.
People like can't get
People
away
can't
from the
separate
characters that they play.
art from artists.
Which is insane. But we were talking about this off air. So you said you hated Skyler the first time you watched the show. But
Right. So the show came out when I was like in 8th grade. So this is
Yeah.
from like a 13-year-old's perspective. remember not thinking too much about it until after the show. I feel like it was a big deal. Like, it was a topic of discussion that Skyler was incredibly insufferable. And I agreed at the time. Looking at the show now as like a 29-year-old woman, if I was in her position, I would probably be acting the exact same way.
Everyone like cites the scene where she sings "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" to her boss.
Okay.
And
I vaguely remember this.
They're like, that's the proof that she's evil. But it's like, before she cheated on Walter, I just don't think that she did anything that was like all that bad. Like, before the point where she cheated, which was in season 3, right? That was like pretty far.
Exactly,
It's
like,
more, I mean, in a show that's so very clearly about moral gray.
Yeah.
Like, the point is just how you come off matters, and you spend more time with Walter anyways.
Right, but I just think like
she exists in the framework of the main character.
If you like look up scenes from TV shows or movies, you'll notice that people in the comments talk about the characters like they're actually real people, and like they're talking about their motivations and like whatever. But it's like, you realize it's all fake, right? So they're thinking about Walter like they sympathize with him, but I thought the whole point of the show is that over time you're supposed to realize the part of you that roots for him is wrong.
He's an anti-hero.
Right.
Well, I mean, that was right around the time that you were getting a lot of leaning into the morally gray characters, which, when it's in the hands of good writers, works. Nowadays, I don't think that it's done as well as it used to be done. But that there's a difference between writing a character. I mean, I've started my rewatch once again of The Wire, which is full to the brim of morally gray characters that do bad things, but are shown as fully realized human beings that have unique motives that you at least understand given the environment that they're in. One of the things I love about the main character of McNulty, the cop, is that he's not seemingly driven by like a deep sense of like justice or like wanting to get these guys because he believes heavily in the justice system. It seems more like, and I think this is what I read, was like, and it actually felt like it rang true. It's like he finds the lying of the criminals and they're expecting to get away with it as a bit offensive. So he's not he's driven in a more neutral way than somebody who in another type of show who would be portrayed as just, they have that sheer desire to fix what is wrong and prove that right will win. And that's not really what the show is about, because if the show is actually honest, it would have focused more on the politicians than it already did. Because the thing is like as gray as the cops are in the show and as gray as the criminals are in the show, which they are, they're all shown to be people with unique motivations. But the politicians is really where it all goes wrong, on the basis of drug laws and things like that.
Morally gray characters.
Morally. Yes. Marlo is a great example. So is Omar. Love Omar as a character, but you know, that's those types of things. And that type of writing doesn't really work as well now. I think maybe my attention span has just gotten shorter, but when I rewatch shows like that are done really, really well, that has really, really well done dialogue, I realize that I do have an appetite for that type of stuff. But most of the time when they try to do it today, it just comes across as fake deep.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, because it's like, it's actually trying to say that this person isn't morally gray. Morals are gray. Yeah. That's what I hate about it.
They talk early on in the show about just going into the projects and just pulling dudes out against what their civil rights actually are and interrogating them and just abusing them until they get confessions. And you have to have other characters come around and say, no, you can't do that. And things like that. And it's just really, really funny to think that the writing could be like that still. But I maintain that the majority of the reason that is not true is because good writing, good writers is a finite resource. And we're in an industry, like they're in an industry where the demand for that good of writing exceeds the ability of the people who are making it. So even David Simon, the guy who made it, went on to do, was it We Run This City with John Bernthal, and it was awful. So it's like you get it right sometimes, you get it wrong sometimes.
Who was the creator of Breaking Bad?
It was, I'm
gonna have to look it up, or it's gonna eat away at me.
I know that one. It's off the top of my head. You're pulling me off in the. It's
Vince Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan, yeah.
Okay, what is he doing right now?
Well, he did Better Call Saul, right? And then,
but like after that.
But so, and Vince Gilligan comes from the ages of the X-Files. Like he was early days on the X-Files. So think about that. You go from the X-Files, which was a cultural phenomenon. Then you go to Breaking Bad. You go to Better Call Saul. There's only so many Vince Gilligans in the world.
Right.
There's just not that many.
Yeah, there's just nothing here after like Better Call Saul stuff and El Camino. I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he just retired.
Irish Savage says, have you watched Justified? Justified is another example of fantastic dialogue and great characterization. But even that show, like they tried to do Justified City Primeval, and I didn't like it. I turned it off after 2 episodes. So you don't really have a lot of people working today that are able to pull it off because there's too much stuff being made.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
All right. So you say she's good. Leave
Like
it alone.
hot take, even if it's not a hot take, I just don't think that Skyler was that bad.
The whole rabbit says Sons of Anarchy. Yes, another example of characters with extremely gray views of the world because they are literally running a criminal enterprise, and the whole point is that the main character wants to get out of it, and that's kind of the same approach that the show Power did with the character of Ghost, which is that he's running an empire of drugs, but he yearns to get out and go legit, and everything in his life pulls him back into a world of crime. Sons of Anarchy is the same way.
I think that the showrunners, the screenwriters need to find a way to put bounds on making a character morally gray, because then you get to the point where you have Abby in The Last of Us, and it's like, well, you could have made your protagonist have mixed motivations and moral conflicts, but when you choose the villain who killed your previous protagonist, that might not go over so well, and it doesn't really make sense.
All right, let's go ahead and move on then. So you say go ahead and support her from now on. Her character's good.
Not necessarily saying she's good. I'm just saying she wasn't that bad.
All right. Big news today. President Biden has, in fact, signed the TikTok ban bill. ByteDance will have to divest by January, I believe it said.
They have a 9-month
9
divestment
months.
period to either sell the U.S.-run TikTok or they'll just have it banned completely, which doesn't seem constitutional, but...
My favorite part of this is I think back to how many incidents came out of him bringing TikTok influencers to the White House. How
has that happened that many times? I just think of Harry Sisson. Who else was it?
More than one is there was the lady at the Pride Festival in the front lawn who was a TikTok influencer.
The trans
Dylan
one.
Mulvaney?
Yeah. So all of these people that support Biden, that are TikTok, very, very heavy on TikTok, probably feel a little bit betrayed, just a little bit.
Well, I think that this is a BS excuse talking about people's personal data staying secure, because during the Trump administration, they already made sure that U.S. users, there are 170 million Americans using TikTok. All of their personal data, I think, is under the jurisdiction or possession of Oracle, right? An American company. That was the compromise that they reached in order to not ban TikTok. Therefore, if you're saying that this is about the security of Americans' personal data, that's completely a BS excuse. I think it's really quite obviously just about the fact that Gen Zers are reportedly using TikTok as their main search engine, first of all, instead of Google or anything else. And they're sharing free Palestine propaganda between each other, and a lot of people in the government don't want young people to see pro-Palestine posts.
Well, all they have to do is send them to university, and you'll get that anyways, as we're seeing right now with what's going on at colleges.
And TikTok also could influence an election, so maybe that could be sorry, there's a stink bug that's been on my mic for the last 10 minutes, and I'm just waiting for him to scoot over. But definitely think it's interesting considering it's an election year as well.
You need to punch the mic.
So it says ByteDance has made it quite clear that they have no intentions of selling off the U.S. operations. A leaked internal memo from the company revealed that they intend to file a lawsuit to fight the decision as soon as Biden signs it into law. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think it would be a bad thing, obviously, if TikTok gets banned.
I have, again,
do you guys agree?
I don't use it, but I don't think it should be banned.
I don't use it because I was banned off TikTok. I'm not saying it's a free speech platform, but it's more so able to host a lot of different opinions than, for instance, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope when you want to start banning things. So it's always like there's a hesitation there to ban it. But I mean, honestly, I think it's too late to ban TikTok. It's already like sunken its teeth into our culture and our society.
Mm-hmm. Like through lockdowns and everything, everyone just hopped on there.
And how
it's
many
still not
people
the
are
most popular
famous
app
from it?
but it's pretty close to Instagram in terms of users. And also, I'm sure that people who use it daily outnumber those who use Instagram daily. Like, all these other platforms are dying, and people who use X are frustrated right now because the whole thing is just taken over with spam and porn bots. And, like, yeah, it's just like a bunch of bot accounts polluting the app constantly.
Right.
And it's also not a free speech app, even though Elon claims that it is. So I think TikTok, yes, like, it's rotting a lot of people's brains, but at the same time, it would be nice to keep it, because it's like one of the only platforms that actually gives you a chance at going viral.
Yeah, true.
The other ones, you basically have to grift, lie, and engagement farm in order to get any numbers. But I had several TikToks get more than 1 million views when I had the app.
I've heard about on YouTube, people will say, like, at first when they start making videos consistently, they'll get a lot of love and views and subscribers, and then, like, just after a certain point, it completely stops, and you stay at, like, a consistent number that's not as high as when you first started off.
I put up a poll asking people whether we should ban it or not. I'm just curious. I saw somebody mention that we should make a poll about that. I think that is a very good idea.
Yeah.
I do find it ironic, though, that after this bill initially was pushed through the House, we got like an email from TikTok saying, help use your voice to speak up about the TikTok ban. I said, we can't. You banned our show off TikTok. So I don't know what you want me to do.
It's an extremely censorious platform. But again, like, there are pros and cons for sure.
All right. Right now, 61% say yes, ban it. All right. Do we want to listen to what he said? So this is what the
this video is like months old, right?
This is the one that showed initially, right after the initial.
We showed it at the
run
time.
through the legislature. Yeah,
I don't want to listen to this.
We got a $20 one there again from Galen McKenzie.
He said, "I didn't mean I wouldn't otherwise listen. Y'all are amazing. Great work. Between the Mary religious moral tyranny and Brett liberalism, you are entertaining. Y'all just happened to start the show when I start my reps."
Perfect.
Nice.
Okay, glad to hear that you actually like us.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
All right, guys, let's move on. So, Mary, why don't you tell us what the hell Hollywood's suffering with? I think they're calling it Ozempic Face.
Yeah, plastic surgeons everywhere are warning that Ozempic Face is hitting Hollywood. I mean, Ozempic reached peak popularity probably last year, and then people started getting horrible side effects. I heard one guy, his skin started burning off, people getting horrible digestive issues. Sharon Osbourne went on Ozempic, lost a ton of weight. She stopped taking Ozempic and now still isn't able to gain any weight. I think it's pretty dangerous, but I think you can only convince people to stop taking it if you tell them it'll make them ugly. So this was their warning. Plastic surgeons warn of a spike in the side effect known as Ozempic Face. A plastic surgeon from New Jersey tells Daily Mail, Ozempic Face is essentially the same characteristics that we see when patients have rapid or irregular weight loss. We see a loss of volume in the face, and when we lose fat in the face, we see signs like the cheeks being more sunken in, more sagging skin, and a general hollowing out of the features. Sometimes it can have an effect of actually making a person look older, because the fat in our cheeks is what gives us a more youthful look. And they have presented a ton of before and afters of all these celebrities who may or may not be on Ozempic. But Scott Disick, literally looks like a corpse now. Jessica Simpson looks like a completely different person.
I do look. There should be props given to whoever it was at the Daily Mail who was in charge of getting these after photos, because they did their best to find like the most unflattering after photos.
This looks
you
like
can
before
find.
and aftermath, like literally.
Yes.
Jessica Simpson's.
Yep.
Yeah, Ozempic, not even once. You know, Sharon Osbourne. John Goodman just looks like he's old.
That's
so.
nice. I said that's not fair to John Goodman. Dude just looks old to me, and that's fine. Dude's been around forever.
Yeah, we're not gonna hate. Robbie Williams, Jesse Plemons, Liam Payne.
The Jesse Plemons one is sad because Jesse Plemons was good before. Like, just leave the dude alone.
Which
He had
one?
to-
This guy right here?
Yeah, the top.
ginger?
He was perfectly fine. He had a unique look to him. Now he just looks like he'd be number 2 in like a Hugh Grant movie. He's like, I'm here to make Hugh Grant look more handsome.
Well, doctors are still insisting in this article that the results of using Ozempic for weight loss and the results of natural weight loss are the same. So if you would, I mean, these doctors are insisting that all of these people would have aging faces from losing the weight naturally anyway, therefore it's not Ozempic's fault. But I think everyone instinctively knows the difference between the look of someone who is losing weight to be healthier and the look of someone who is starving.
Yeah.
Because then you look, you know, malnourished, you start to resemble a wax figure. You know,
Which doctor
eyes
said this?
sunken in.
This is what makes me lose faith in the medical field.
Well, that's the thing. They're interviewing all of these usually plastic surgeons or weight loss experts who are the ones who either inject your face with fillers or are prescribing celebrities Ozempic when they don't have diabetes to justify such a thing. So they probably make money from downplaying the risks.
Totally.
There was you know who Jillian Michaels is. She's kind of been famous in like celebrity weight loss circles for ages. She's makes video, like she's always had her foot in that door.
Okay.
And she had a thing where she called out some other doctor who's now pushing Ozempic, who said like, you used to tell people this was bad for you, don't do it. Now you're saying do it. And then she came with the receipts where she found the old stuff of him saying like, no, it's really, if you don't need the medication, it's very, very bad for you, don't do it. And now he's like, no, it's perfectly safe. Use it. You know, money goes a long way.
Those
should lose his
insurance
license.
kickbacks be hitting
Yeah,
different when
they do.
Ozempic becomes popular. And now the people who actually need Ozempic can't get it because it's in a shortage right now.
No way.
Yeah. The people who actually have diabetes and need this drug.
As a country, we've gotten that big and greedy.
the celebrities with the premium doctors are getting it sooner than the people who have diabetes who actually need it.
I don't know. I don't know if I would trust Jillian Michaels, who was like just a personal trainer who ran in celebrity circles, but I would probably trust her more than just the doctor who's like, go get this drug.
Right. What does
Like,
she have to gain?
I'll always err on the side of trusting the person who tells me to not buy something that clearly seems to be sloughing people's faces off. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think Ozempic is just birth control, but for food, basically. Like, you really can't accept the consequences of shoveling food into your face. You have to take the shortcut because you can't handle any accountability for your own actions.
Shoveling.
Like, you have no self-control.
Right.
Ozempic,
discipline.
yeah, Ozempic is like the condom for fat people, basically. Like, maybe everyone would be better off if you just developed the self-discipline to shut your mouth.
A lot harder to sell that one to people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it got so popular so fast.
Yeah, it's
You know?
it's a lot hard, and especially for celebrities or actors specifically. When a big part of it for like the men, it's like putting on muscle for a role, or losing weight for a role, or putting on weight for a role.
Yeah.
You know, any type of shortcut that you can take is something that they're going to be willing to do if they take their craft seriously, without really thinking about what the risk is going to be to their physical health by doing that.
Well, what's the use of being gaunt and a skinny legend if you're going to be ugly and old looking in the process, if you're going to look like a deflated balloon
Right.
covered in wax? I mean, I stand by the advice that shutting your mouth and shutting your legs is usually the good way to go. Yeah.
It's just a lot.
Keep your mouth
Keep it
shut and
clamped.
keep your legs shut, and you should be good.
It's just a lot harder to sell people on something that actually requires self-control.
Right. I mean, but these are the same people who are like, body positivity. We love when Lizzo twerks on camera and shoves food in her face. Like, I just, you know, if you're shallow and you only care about your looks and you're a superficial person, as most are in Hollywood, I would appreciate some transparency about that.
And what was it? Alan Richson did the thing where he basically said, like, I'm on TRT and was honest about that. Oprah's another one we could talk about because she literally left Weight Watchers to be able to take Ozempic because she felt that it would be...
Well, she didn't admit that she's on Ozempic, or she didn't admit that she's encouraging anyone to take Ozempic, but thank you. She was very clear that she wanted the freedom to talk about different methods of weight loss. So
That is... So the crisis meter was fixed mid-show, so
Nice.
that was it doesn't show one, but we have gotten one.
Okay.
so
Since
they're
the
not
show
going to show
started.
up on screen.
It will when we get to the second one. It'll show up as the first one, but I am keeping my eye on it. But it's now working, so
That
any
sucks.
super chat that comes through, it will show up there. So,
Okay.
All right.
Oh, we also recently saw this photo of Ryan Gosling from the premiere of Fall Guy. And this was posted by a Twitter user named Isaac's Army with the profile picture of Isaac Cappy, the dead actor. And they captioned this, Ryan Gosling has been replaced, it appears. # we want answers. And these photos, I wasn't sure if they were real to begin with, but I have seen receipts in the comments. He just looks botched. He looks like his face is full of saline, full of Juvederm, or something went wrong on the surgical table. And yeah, very unfortunate if true, but then I saw in the comments this link to a YouTube short where he's doing an interview. He looks perfectly normal and recognizable as usual. So I don't know what's going on with him.
Just really quickly, a little bit about the stunt performers.
Yeah, his face looks perfect. It'd be harder to fake the video than it would the photos, guys.
But like, people were actually in heated arguments over this in the comments that made me laugh. Like, I just don't understand why it made people so angry. But this account was getting accused of posting altered images, and instead posted a screenshot of the article from which the first photo came. And the comments were extremely heated. One person said, just looked it up, fake. This is why I hate Twitter. Why do I come here? And then someone replied, got a link to back that up? Of course you don't. By the way, I don't think X likes you either. Probably should take your own advice and just stay away. And then a third person said, it's fake and you're a gullible little fool. Always remember that. Then he replies, prove it or shut the fuck up. And then he says, prove what? His source link has 0 images. And then he said, prove I'm wrong. Do it. You said I was. Now prove it. You run your bitch-made mouth that's connected to your super light skull, and all you present is your emotional outburst. Fuck out of here, you loser, or prove it.
How is that not an emotional outburst?
How
They're
has
both having
society
emotional
come to
outbursts.
this point?
I love the idea that these guys, like, because they're like writing under like screen names. I like the idea that they're in at the same business, not realizing that they're fighting with each other.
Not realizing they're
love
best
that.
friends in real life.
Yes.
No, these two people are gonna get married.
Like,
I'm telling you right now.
imagine the ability to get that angry at something.
Over a Ryan Gosling Juvederm photo.
There's nothing that we cover that could make me that angry about anything.
I do think he got fillers though. They're just not extreme.
I think it's a combination of things. Botched fillers, botched makeup. Whoever did his makeup did not do him justice. And maybe he gained a little weight. Who knows? You know, maybe like we should praise him a little for not taking Ozempic, because
Well, he was a skinny
inflating.
legend in the first place, so he didn't
always
need
a
it.
skinny legend.
He was always a skinny legend.
There's no need to get that angry about any actor's face. There just isn't.
No.
Not that I can see. But the amount of energy that people expend arguing with people on the internet has always been crazy to me.
About things that
I
don't matter.
fully believe that Twitter is making people lose their minds.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
like,
is it just exposing what was already there?
comment sections in
Good
general.
point.
Comment sections in general, and yeah, well, people are a lot more likely to behave badly if they're,
They're anonymous.
if they're allowed to maintain anonymity. Not that anonymity is not important. Don't take the Jordan Peterson route and say that they should get rid of anonymous accounts on the internet. You should be allowed to be anonymous. It's your job as a rational individual to look at the people you're arguing with on the internet and learn who to value the opinion of more. You could probably value the opinion of somebody who's actually put their name and face there more than the person with like an anime avatar.
I disagree. I follow plenty of anons, and I trust them more than any lib Democrat who has their full name and face.
But are you arguing with them? I'm saying if you're getting into a fight with someone on the internet, I'm gonna actually take seriously the person who's out there themselves than just some random person with a random account name.
Right.
It's about where to expend your energy.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't seem worth it to me. But I don't really get involved in comment sections to begin with. So, all right, cringe or cute of the day, ladies.
Let's start with
Sara?
cringe.
Okay, cringe
Cringe?
first.
Okay.
There's this woman in New York City who goes to random men's apartments and films them.
Seems like a great way to die young. It really does.
Well, the point is more so like, look at the filth they live in.
Steering wheel.
I like cars.
This place is gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah, it's really nice.
I've never heard that.
Jerome's room is like a beautiful space that's extremely well lit. However, he has made it completely hostile. His TV isn't connected to anything.
Do you not make the bed?
No.
Navy sheets, no duvet cover, sweat stains on the pillows.
Deodorants in the bed.
Duvet covers are super overrated. You just wash that and keep it moving.
His plant is dying. His closet feels like a tower from like Lord of the Rings or something. He has all of his underwear and socks in a Tupperware.
The sound effect in the Lord of the Rings thing is gold. I'll give him
My socks and boxers drawer.
Okay. Did you work for GoPuff or what's with the hat?
That's the cat's hat.
Yeah, it's got her hair on it.
I'm obsessed with the throat spray at his bedside table. That is such a Cosmo mom hot tip for BJs.
Yeah, soothe the throat every once in a while.
That's awesome.
My epic vision for Jerome's room is that I would get a dresser for the socks and underwear because he deserves to be able to pick a fresh pair. And for Jerome's shelf, I would take off all the junk from one side and evenly disperse some nice decorations. Also, it would be nice to have a painting over his bed, maybe of himself, because I think he's handsome. I would also get him a duvet cover. Come on, let's get real. Jerome is a gorgeous man, but he's still just a messy boy with car parts.
The problem is, ladies, is it upsets you that men can live like this and be completely happy. That's the issue. The guy moves out. He's got a TV. He's got a mini fridge with beer and like a gaming chair, and that's it. And they don't need anything more than that. That upsets a lot of
That's
women.
what we call a dusty, though.
So that upsets a lot of women.
That's a dusty.
There's an old Chris Rock bit. There's an old Chris Rock bit where he talks about how like the paradox is how like women aren't attracted to you until a girl actually makes like you start dating a girl and then she's like she rubs the crust out of your eyes, washes your clothes, and suddenly all the ladies are interested in you because she's actually forcing him to do basic.
So I guess the advice is keep him ugly, ladies.
Yeah, exactly. So just be messy and tell the lady to cope harder.
The weirdest part was the steering wheel on the wall. Like, where do you think you're going?
Why was there a tire in the middle of his
Bro
room?
probably works hard. Bro, he's got a job. He probably door dashes on the side and thinking he's got time for interior decorating. Ladies,
And maybe he like walks around
Female
the
privilege.
streets of NYC with his steering wheel in his hand to pretend he's driving.
Just
You know what?
saying.
If that apartment was well decorated, people would be calling him gay. They would be calling him a serial killer.
for sure.
Like,
oh yes, but I think there's a good like in between having a
Yes.
dresser.
Yes.
Right. That's
You're right.
basic.
My favorite is the one where the guy like he buys a dresser in like in the big cardboard box and then just puts the cardboard box against his bed. So it's just and then puts his stuff on top of it. He doesn't build the dresser. He just puts his lamp on top
that's
of
a
the
whole
cardboard
other
box.
issue with finishing projects you've started. Yeah, that's a red flag. That's more of a red flag than a tire in the middle of your room.
So what's more of a red flag? A messy room on a guy, or a dude who just looks like he watches Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and then decorated his room?
Queer Eye is more of a red flag.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
So what do the ladies want, guys? We will never know. We will never
But we
A
just
healthy
told
balance.
you.
We just she like step by step explained it.
how to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't think that guy's going to Hobby Lobby to get a Live, Laugh, Love plaque anywhere.
Good.
They probably don't even. Do they even have Hobby Lobbies?
He
in
could
New
get a
York City?
cactus and a dresser, and that would be great.
Call it a day.
Okay.
Call it a day.
All right. All right, we got some cute of the day as well here, guys. Let's look here first. This one's from Halls and the Kid. I think I told Jessica earlier this week that I already did it, but apparently I didn't do this, so I got to it today.
Okay.
Here is Gunner.
Oh, I love Gunner. She's so beautiful. I want her to have babies with my dog, my all-black German Shepherd male.
There you go.
Is that in the plans?
Potentially.
It's gonna happen.
We'll see. If Gunner's a good girl, maybe.
That's a
Cute.
very good dog.
That is a beautiful, good dog.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. This one's from Cookie Don 15. Post-breakfast Sphinx pose.
I mean, I don't want to be
Fierce.
insulting, but I love how chubby the dog is.
Nothing wrong with that.
Super cute.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, guys, remember, you can submit all cute of the days, hashtag PCC Pets, tag me and at popculture_show in there so that we can get to it. Be fantastic. All right, time to get started now that we're 55 minutes into the show. Mary, what the hell's going on with Ye?
That's always the question, isn't it? Kanye continues to go down a spiral mentally, and recently his team announced that there are plans for him to start his own corn production company. And I'm not talking about the plant. Yes, he plans to launch Yeezy Corn coming soon. A rep for Ye told TMZ he has been kicking around the idea of launching his own corn studio and brand for a while. And now we're told he's dead set on doing it because him and his partners are in advanced talks to actually get something up and running. So that's his latest business venture. And I really wish Shane were here today to talk about this with us.
Yeah.
But I messaged him real quick and he said, we are witnessing a man completely collapsing. He is not recognizable as the person he was a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's really strange. Like, I couldn't even come up with like a half-baked theory as to why he's doing this, because he's been so vocal in the past about how pornography addiction hurt him and his marriage and his family, and how he opposes these things. And now he has done a complete 180 where he is planning to sell and promote it to his fans.
Yep.
And that's really disturbing. Another weird part of this, TMZ says Kanye has been talking about building the Yeezy porn studio and broader adult entertainment division at the Yeezy company with Stormy Daniels. Kanye has been talking to Stormy Daniels,
Well, her ex-husband.
ex-husband. Yeah. It says Kanye has been talking to Stormy Daniels' ex-husband, Mike Mose, a vet in the porn business, to help shepherd the whole thing as the head of this new division in the Yeezy brand. So, yeah, that's happening at the same time as the Trump trial over the Stormy Daniels lawsuit.
It's
Just
interesting
why?
because it does call into question for a lot of people, I'm sure, why so many religious people are critical or at least hesitant to believe someone when they come on their come to Jesus moment, right? I just saw that Nala responded to Pearl's claims or something the other day in like a 6-minute video, and this is why you get so many people that are hesitant to believe when somebody who once lived a life, or I imagine somebody who lived life of sin, to come to God when they're in the public eye.
Well, I think that should tell you that if you're skeptical of an OnlyFans girl who quits and converts to Christianity, you should have been skeptical of Kanye, converting to Christianity in the public eye and changing all of his songs and his lyrics and his public image. You should have been skeptical of both of those things.
Didn't he come onto the scene as a Christian though? I don't think this was like a public
2019
conversion.
2019, right? Or do you mean earlier?
Well, no, because Jesus Walks was on his first album.
He's always
first or
been like
second
that.
album.
He leaned into it a lot more in, I would say, 2019. He started doing those Sunday churches events and stuff like that. But he's always been like very open about his religion.
Yeah, but then
from what I remember,
after 2019, is when he's like, what would you say? It was like 2022, early 2022, when he started really going hard on the Christian thing.
Before that, right? 2021.
2021?
You'd have to ask Shane. Shane might know better about the dates on that. But I mean, late 2022 was when he was on IRL, right?
Late 2022, yeah. But before that was more so. I don't know. I can't keep track at this point.
No,
he's had so many different phases.
No, like the album came out in 2019, right?
So yeah, but it was after the album he released Donda, and in the middle of Donda, I mean, Donda had plenty of explicit lyrics, right?
Yeah. I still think that for the most part, he has a lot of it is just that he knows he's a manic person who goes through manic episodes and goes up and down. He just has such a public face that this is what any person in a manic state would do. It's just that he's going to grab a lot more attention and happens to be famous.
Doesn't that just sound like making up excuses for him when he's fully
I'm
accountable for his
it.
actions?
I'm not making excuses for him. I'm explaining what I think it is. That if somebody who suffers from BPD down the street does this, you don't know because he doesn't have the public eye. When Kanye does, he doesn't. Like, this could disappear tomorrow. We may never hear anything of this ever again. And someday somebody will be like, wasn't he going to start a corn company back then? What if that'd be great. What if he actually started a corn company, started making corn on the cob? That'd be great.
Yeah, I would prefer that.
I would rather that, yeah.
To this.
Like a non-GMO corn on the cob industry.
I mean, I think it's a misleading to say that a mental illness or a manic episode could make you completely change your belief system and your moral code. That's not how that works.
That being an artist plays a role in that too, in a lot of it. Or part of it is like, isn't part of it that you're allowed to go through something. So he just says like, it's not that I've lost my values, it's that I'm going through something right now and I'll find my way back. Even if what somebody believes he's doing right now isn't something that you can find your way back from.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think you just agreed with what she said, like indirectly, right? Essentially, like, you can only forgive so much if he's always blaming this on the fact that he's manic and he has bipolar disorder, which he's had for years, right? Like, we've known for decades that Kanye is manic or at least bipolar. You would think that by now they have some sort of system figured out. So after a while, it's kind of hard to forgive if that even is the truth, if that even is why he's acting this erratically. Because I mean, to what you were saying, Brett, also, it's like you're suggesting this is kind of what would happen if you gave the crazy person down the street like millions of dollars and tons of fame. Like, they would be, essentially, this is what they would spend it on.
Yeah. Not even necessarily millions of dollars, but like that what you'd see is an erratic shift in behavior. Like, if you gave a person who was suffering from something like this down the street all of the attention, you would just see a erratic shift in behavior. Maybe it displays itself in a different way, but it would show a radical shift in values or behavior. When I was, and I guess drugs aren't necessarily the same thing as being, certain types of mental illness, but there are things that cause radical shifts in behavior that can make you unrecognizable to the person that you were before. The difference is I did not have millions of dollars or lots of public attention to draw, the public eye to what was different.
Okay,
Right.
but Kanye repeatedly has denied that he has bipolar disorder. So if we're to take his words at face value, he is perfectly sound of mind. He is making all of these decisions completely sober, not mentally ill, not in a manic episode. He's, perfectly aware of what he's doing, perfectly in control of his actions.
Yeah.
So if we're taking him at his word, this is a sign that, honestly, you know, before this ever happened, it's been months since all of the Christians who started supporting him should have jumped ship. But like, if you still didn't see a sign to jump off the Kanye train, this is it. Like,
oh yeah, I've lost all respect for him irrevocably after this. I did have some left, and I could kind of admire him as an artist at the very least.
But Vultures was just trash. Like, musically, it was bad, and he has these blatantly blasphemous lyrics, and he's in all of these interviews saying that he's God, and he's talking about having a threesome with the Obamas. I'm just not, like, you get to the point where no one is interested anymore.
Right.
Like, you've done it all, you've said everything, you've said the most shocking thing you could possibly say, and no one is listening anymore.
I still have a lot of love for the old music, a lot of love for the old music. But as a person, I find it more merely. I find it like vaguely interesting. For the most part, I look at him the same way I look at a lot of celebrities, especially like more in the realm of like a Britney Spears, where it's just kind of fascinating to watch, but not get invested in personally. Like I can imagine for someone like Shane, who had like felt like, you know, he really liked the guy and had a deep connection with his music, that to him something like this would feel actually like a betrayal in a lot of ways.
Or at least someone who at one point was considered a friend, whatever that word means to someone like Kanye. I have no idea. I think he's probably just mad at everyone. He's mad at his ex-wife. He's mad at all of the people in the industry who used to respect him, who don't anymore. He's mad at himself. And then now he got mad at all of the Christians who started supporting him and decided to do everything he could despite them. And this is part of that project. So it's really unfortunate.
I wonder how much of it sometimes is like, look, you get him on an interview and he just says something off the cuff, and then a lot of news bites come of those statements that may or may not be just something that you just say in the moment. And it just grows into something that's not like, is there any evidence that these talks are actually going on? It'd be interesting to see, like, other than the mention of the guy specifically. But even that feels a little bit planted, because it's like even being connected to Stormy Daniels just feels perfect for the story, I guess.
Right. It's almost getting to the point where it's too cliche.
Yes.
His unpredictability has become too predictable.
In a lot of cases.
And it's like cringe.
It feels that way
this
to
is,
me.
yeah, it got cringe.
But if you're making it up, that just means you're even more desperate for attention. Yeah.
At least when Britney Spears does it, it's genuinely unconscious. Like, this is consciously trying to be shocking.
It is true. I did read somewhere recently that the fact that they hired Lady Gaga to play Harley Quinn and not Britney Spears is probably the greatest mistake of the 21st century.
I think that Britney and Kanye should do a collab album.
Britney.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that
they
could do
should
that.
get married.
You know what they could do? They could team up to do Crossroads 2 Electric Boogaloo. Get Anson Mount and Taryn Manning back, and Shonda Rhimes.
Drop an album.
Shonda Rhimes can be involved.
Yes.
Great.
It'd be great. I would watch that. I would absolutely watch that.
I would so watch that.
All right, let's go to the Super Chats then, shall we?
Okay, well, I don't know where we are with the Super Chats right now. We're going to have to start really from the top.
Yeah.
I don't know where those are because they're not showing up on the spreadsheet for me.
Right here, I got it here. So it says, Shane H. Weiler says, Happy Woman Wednesday, Brett, Mary, and Sara. Sara, I hope you enjoyed the 2 Cast Brew videos. Mary will appear on Ghost Adventures tomorrow.
Okay. Happy to see that when it comes out.
They were brilliant. Got lots of compliments.
We should play it on the show then.
If somebody can send them to me. Andrew Jacobs says, Happy 19th, YouTube, home of my favorite pop culture hosts. Well, I've been reliably told that I am...
Debunked.
Well, that was apparently December 15th, 2005 was the day that YouTube started. According to this, I think my YouTube account is in the early December of 2005. So... I don't know if I got it like right when YouTube started, or maybe it started earlier than that.
No, definitely was 2005.
No, it was. I'm saying earlier than that in 2005. Maybe the date I was looking at was wrong. I just looked up YouTube start date and it said December 15th, 2005.
Well, Me at the Zoo, the first video ever posted on YouTube, was posted April 23rd, 2005.
That makes more sense.
So that would be yesterday.
So maybe today is the 19th anniversary of YouTube.
Well, then it would have been yesterday if it was posted on the 23rd.
I'm not telling
2005.
YouTube congrats because YouTube sucks.
Yes.
Moving on.
All right. JTR11 says streaming access library. Take a password, leave a password. There you go. That's what it's like with families.
Yeah.
Let's do one more here, and we will come back to the rest after the fact. AK Storm. Oh, we read that one, right?
No, we didn't.
We did.
No.
The first one. We didn't read the second one.
No, that's
We did. It was about the.
Are you looking at the $10 one?
No, I'm looking at a $5 one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
$2 one.
Up here, we read that one. We didn't read this one. It says, "Easy, Waltz. He's the governor of Minneapolis." It was in reference to the library that got built. In
Do you have
South
strong
Central.
opinions about the governor of Minneapolis?
Sucks. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, during
There's
COVID,
the mayor and the governor. Which one?
Waltz sucks, but he sucked during.
He's the mayor, right?
Yeah, like no governor.
He's the governor of the state.
So he's he was the one who was in charge during the George Floyd riots, and just no. So.
Yeah.
And we'll do one more from Shane H. Wilder. Says, "There's a lending library in my neighborhood. I saw a copy of Genderqueer in it once. I took it out and threw it in the trash." There you go.
I thought that the Genderqueer book was like written by someone who is critiquing it.
I mean, I think that they're just saying the picture shouldn't be in there at all. So
There weren't any pictures in that one, though. I thought I saw that same book in the IRL studio at one point.
Is that the
Right?
one where the girl gets
Genderqueer
like,
has the
her
pictures in it.
period?
Oh, it does?
Is that the one where the girl gets her period and doesn't know what to do?
I don't
I have
know.
no idea.
All right, let's good job on you though, Shane. All right, let's move on then. Let's go ahead and move on to the second topic. Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, yesterday, Megan Thee Stallion was hit with, I guess, a MeToo'd lawsuit. I don't know if most people would call it that. But yeah, Megan Thee Stallion has her own allegations to deal with from a former employee. She's facing a lawsuit from a cameraman who used to work for her after she allegedly forced him to watch her have sex in a moving car. After the incident, he claims that she told him, "Don't ever discuss what you saw," and then berated him and made fat-shaming comments towards him. Megan Thee Stallion and Rock Nation are the defendants in the lawsuit from the cameraman who claims he was forced to watch her have sex with a woman inside a moving vehicle while she was on tour in Spain. In the complaint, he accused her of subjecting him to a hostile work environment due to that incident, which he says amounted to harassment and left him feeling embarrassed, mortified, and offended. Here's the story. After a night out, Megan Thee Stallion and 3 other women were riding in an SUV together. Suddenly, Megan Thee Stallion and one of the other women started having sex right beside the plaintiff, Emilio Garcia. I believe that's his name.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Emilio Garcia. Yeah. Emilio Garcia could not get out of the car as it was both moving and he was in the middle of nowhere in a foreign country.
I'm picturing him like pulling on the door handle and trying to get out, but it's like one of those that automatically locks when the car is moving. And he's like, "Good God, let me out of this thing." And
and what is the driver doing? Just hitting as many bumps in the road as possible.
That's the best. The best one is like it's like a limo, right? And the guy starts like turning into potholes. And like kind of just generally going off into the grass a little bit and swerving, just to make life more difficult for her back there. Because he never gets invited and it pisses him off.
Well, when I would think of a Hollywood photographer who works for rappers, sitting next to 2 women who start hooking up with each other, my guess would be most of the time they would join that encounter.
See, I think what
that would be my guess. I mean, aren't photographers in Hollywood known for like being sexual perverts?
So wouldn't the idea be that he's like he tried to get involved and they're just like, no?
Yeah, then the rejection
and
set
then
in.
maybe that's where the fat shaming comments came in. She was simply trying to explain why she wasn't interested.
She's like, look
in the moment.
This woman who we'll call nobody because we don't know her name. She's nobody.
Chick one.
She is quite attractive. I'm attracted to her. And then she's like, look, I would also find you attractive if you didn't weigh so much. So I'm sorry.
Sorry, Emilio.
I don't think she said it in such polite terms, but
Get on the Ozempic and maybe you'll have a chance.
and all of this while being an independent contractor, you know.
Yeah, he says that after this incident happened, and after Megan Thee Stallion told him never to tell anyone about it, he noticed a change in how he was treated, saw a decrease in the number of bookings he received from her, and by June 2023, he claims he was told his services would no longer be required. They let him go. But that's the thing. He started working for her in 2022. This incident happened in June 2022. He continued working for her for over a year after the fact.
Yes.
And now, after being fired, is when he decides he's going to launch this lawsuit against her. And his lawyer is the same lawyer who did, who sued Lizzo.
Yes, who's still
on
suing
behalf
them.
of
That's still
all of
going
these
on.
backup
Yep.
dancers who accused her of fat shaming, of forcing them to eat bananas out of strippers' hoo-has, if you will.
Is it possible that those lawyers went up to him and were like, "Hey, we should sue Megan Thee Stallion for what you got on her, because we could all get a pretty big paycheck."
It's not so much an ambulance chaser as it is a bang bus chaser. It's really what it is.
The most bizarre theory I've seen about this so far is that Emilio Garcia, the photographer, is actually in cahoots with Nicki Minaj. And that Nicki Minaj...
Where is Xavier when we need him?
They think that Nicki Minaj put up the photographer to launch this lawsuit because she has continued beef with Megan Thee Stallion.
Love it.
They were in a diss track war earlier this year.
The greatest version of this would be that their photographers face off. He goes and works as a photographer for Nicki Minaj, and then whoever Megan Thee Stallion's current photographer is, and then they have like a fight. They go and box. That's what they can go do.
It depends. Was he actually good at his job?
But they can go. What they can do is have adjoining art shows showing their photos to see who has better photography skills.
They also claim in the lawsuit that Megan Thee Stallion violated wage laws in California by failing to pay him for a myriad of tasks. More than once, Megan Thee Stallion interrupted him during dinner and demanded that he immediately shift focus to assist her with TikTok ideas.
He's sitting there,
his job.
He's sitting there talking to his friend or somebody else on the tour, and they're like, "Oh, how's your family?" "Oh, my family's doing great. It's hard being here on the road." She's like, "Hey, turn here." Makes him talk about what she can post.
Despite his status as an independent contractor, he claims that Megan effectively treated him like an employee, and she repeatedly told him explicitly that he was not allowed to service any other client other than herself.
Look, in this respect, I have to say that I would make the same claim if it was a woman, that you need to advocate for yourself. And if somebody says that, you just quit.
Dude,
or you move on.
Also,
or you go to Rock Nation and you say, "I don't want to be assigned to work with this person. The working conditions aren't optimal. I need to work somewhere else." And if they say no, you don't just stay in a situation you're miserable in, because it's expedient for you.
Where somehow she forced you to watch her have sex. This makes me think of Tyler, the Creator, and his wise words of how can you get cyberbullied when you can just close your eyes.
Look, I completely am willing to believe that the car incident happened because Megan Thee Stallion is a trashy hoe with no class.
Is she openly gay or bisexual?
I think so. I mean, I never really paid much attention to that, but
I didn't know.
I fully believe that she would be a person to do that because
I believe it happened.
A helping hound says non-compete. Which I just brought up today because apparently the FTC has banned non-compete clauses in future contracts.
What is that?
So it's like when you sign a contract to work somewhere, you have a non-compete clause that prevents you. So the whole Steven Crowder thing was about, right? Non-compete
you can't
clauses.
work elsewhere in any
you can't work
content
elsewhere
you create
in that field for like WWE has 90-day non-compete clauses to prevent talent from going to work for other promotions immediately. I don't know if they still do that, but that would prevent you from immediately going over to another company and bringing your brand
which is
over
common and I feel like pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
It's not unusual.
And I don't know how that would work for him as an independent contractor, because like in WWE, one of the big jokes is like you sign a contract, you work with them exclusively for however many years, but you're considered an independent contractor, so they don't have to pay your health insurance, so that you have to get it yourself. Most of them are paid well enough that it, like especially the top guys are making so much money, they can afford that, right? But for the lower, people on the lower rung of the company, if you're not making as much, that can be, you're traveling. That's expensive.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to find the statement from Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer, but they basically said this is nothing more than a workplace complaint. It's not a Me Too lawsuit, and we're going to deal with him in court. And she just like posted on Instagram a couple of hours ago about her Hot Girl Summer tour, so clearly she's unbothered.
I also saw this thing the other day. This is a total aside, that Nicki Minaj got hit in the head with something that got thrown at her at a concert. Maybe that was...
I thought she threw something.
No, after getting hit, she threw it back.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
At the right person, right?
I guess, yeah.
You would hope.
Let me see if I can find that. That was just the other... Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was a Megan Thee Stallion fan.
Throwing a shoe. What wasn't it Nicki Minaj who threw a shoe at Cardi B and gave her that huge bump on her forehead?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Let's see.
These women
at
are
a concert,
so
right?
trashy. Like, all of these female rappers are just absolute trash.
I mean, I like the throwing stuff back. Like, what do you do? This has been a problem for like the last couple of years where like, who was it that had like the crazy thing that deflected stuff thrown at her? Was that Katy Perry? Or was that
I thought they handed Katy Perry a wheel of cheese.
No, but who? No, that was Pink, right?
Oh, right. She got the cheese and also someone's mother's ashes.
Nicki Minaj
urn.
deflects a bracelet hurled at her on stage by a fan and throws it right back.
Okay, I mean, a bracelet can't hurt
No, that could poke your eye
badly,
out.
right?
It could whip you right in the eye. It could poke your eye out. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They really need to...
I'm sorry, but it's like it never looks like... I understand the impulse to like throw it back, but it never looks as cool.
It just, it makes you look like a child.
It makes you look like... What you should do is just like pick it up and disregard it as if it means nothing. Throwing it back, it just doesn't have the same zest.
It's funny how everyone is claiming that the story is totally made up. Like, it definitely sounds like something
that could happen.
That would happen.
For sure. I mean, I'm shocked it only happened once.
Right.
Well, no, it did happen before, but the other photographer was in shape, so he got to be involved.
You can't tell me that's the first time that happened.
The real
In
victory
Spain,
here is if this
in
dude,
Ibiza.
like, after this happened, he just hits the gym. He just turns himself into a total Chad because he's like, look, I'm not going to screw this up. If this opportunity comes again,
he shows up to court.
I'm going to answer the call.
Yeah. He shows up to court
Just
jacked. And he's like, bet you like me now, Megan.
He's like, sometimes I go to take a picture and I just crush the button because I'm so ripped.
You don't know my own strength.
Were there any stories that we covered last year that were something similar other than the Lizzo one? I feel like there was one other one that I'm missing. Was there a Nicki Minaj story last year, or was that just the stuff about stuff being thrown on stage?
Nicki Minaj, we were talking about her last because she made this diss track about Megan Thee Stallion. And
so they're still going at it.
She was like defending her husband, who is a convicted R-wordist, and she also... Her brother is also an accused.
I just saw that he
PDF file.
He just petitioned a judge to be able to travel outside the country so that he can go on tour with her.
Her husband?
Oh,
yeah. And he was only on house arrest in the first place because he failed to re-register himself on the sex offender list.
Oh my goodness.
So guess you were just hoping that would go away, right? Like you were hoping everyone would forget that you're a sex offender.
They're gonna have to start putting up barriers.
He's like, this cancel culture, huh? This cancel culture putting an ankle bracelet on me because I didn't put myself on the sex offender registry. It's just like everyone wants to cancel me these days. Everyone's so sensitive these days.
They're gonna have to start putting up like those plexiglass barriers, like at the gas station.
I mean, that needed to happen a long time ago
to prevent the celebrities from getting hit.
Yeah, this has been going on for years.
Yep. You gotta be used to it. Who is it? Also, Dave Chappelle with the guy with the gun knife. But then there was another comedian who got something like right after that happened, got attacked on stage at a comedy club, and it wasn't Dave Chappelle, it was somebody else at another comedy club right after that happened.
I don't
I don't
recall.
know. Or Chrissy Mayer with what happened outside of her events and stuff.
That
like
was at she was doing some kind of meet and greet
Yeah.
in a separate room, and someone like just sprayed pepper spray into the air and left and just dipped.
Yeah.
Because they're psycho.
Well, she was pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm. Like literally about to pop pregnant. Crazy.
So I imagine that this lawyer is making a lot of money off of potential earnings. Like it seems like one of those ones where it's like they're only going to make their money if they win.
Yeah.
If they
for
settle.
sure. Yeah.
And they're going to get 90% of the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Let's do more super chat. You have it caught up
There's
there?
literally
Okay.
nothing
All
here.
right. We will I will keep keep doing this.
Unfortunately.
Where did we leave off here? We were at Prometheus. Yes. Okay. So Prometheus, 1987 says, "Happy Women Wednesday. As someone who was birthed from a woman, married a woman, and fathered a woman, you chicks rock."
Wow. Thanks.
Somebody's got to stand up for you, ladies. If I'm over here
Yeah.
making jokes about periods. So.
It's nice to be appreciated.
Shane H. Wilder says, "Olive Garden's mid. They definitely sugar in it. There's definitely sugar in it."
It definitely tastes like that. I knew my suspicions were.
I need the meme of the guy
true.
standing up in the jacket. Olive Garden is not mid.
It's definitely below mid. It's less than mid.
Squibs said, "New article in the Sun says they have a flying car." See, what Elon needs to do is like his big rollout could have been like he drives the Cybertruck out and then it just becomes a flying Cybertruck.
Didn't they already invent a flying car? I'm telling you.
Somehow I would still find it lame.
All right, what is this? Shane H. Wilder says, "Muppets Most Wanted is really good. I recommend. I do recommend it. It was a lot of
It's
fun."
Most Wanted. All right.
Tacty Platty says, "I always want to put Animal Farm in them libraries." Yeah, or put Aldous Huxley in the libraries. Or James Lindsay. I say put James Lindsay in the libraries.
Okay, after this point, I have the super chats pulled up.
Okay.
Corey Anderson said, "Mary, your pinned tweet on X. What is that about?"
What is it?
Which one?
Listen, if you know, you know.
What is the tweet?
If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And if you don't know what my pinned tweet is, then you should go to my Twitter and see. It's Mary Archived.
Let's hold off on the rest and we will come back after the fact. Let's talk about pretty privilege, shall we?
Unfortunately for ugly people, pretty privilege is very real and it can affect your chances at landing a job. Scientists have also proven that attractive people are seen as more trustworthy. So we're going to go through this recent research, not going to go into a bunch of detail, but I think it's safe to say we do trust the science. We believe the science.
When they agree with us, we trust the science. When they disagree with us, we tell you it's all fake. And it's all done by big pharma.
Is fake and gay when we disagree with it, and when we agree with it, we believe it. But I think we didn't need science to even tell us that beauty is objective. Beauty is not, in fact, in the eye of the beholder. And you see this over and over, that the vast majority of people agree on what and who is attractive, generally speaking. So they've said in this article, today's fiercely competitive job market, the economic advantages of beauty are undeniable. Numerous studies have shown that attractive individuals benefit from a beauty bonus and earn higher salaries on average. Certain high-paying professions are built around beauty, and there is a positive halo effect to being beautiful. Beautiful individuals are consistently expected to be more intelligent and thought to be better leaders, which influences their career trajectories and opportunities.
It makes me think of when Hollywood used to show you a beautiful woman, was the idea that you expected her to be smart, or was it that the bimbo thing was like, look, she's pretty, she's blonde, is she expected to be all that smart? Like I see contradictions there a little bit.
Well, Hollywood kind of switched gears because the bimbo trope was deemed misogynistic, but it was never true that beautiful women were less intelligent than anyone else. I think they switched to like, oh, you thought that she was a bimbo, but she's actually a neuroscientist or something. Like she's actually, I don't know. You said like a nuclear physicist.
Yes,
something.
Denise Richards playing Christmas Jones, the nuclear physicist in The World Is Not Enough.
Yes.
The James Bond movie.
It is thought individuals perceived as beautiful are more likely to benefit from people's trust, which makes it easier for them to get promoted or to strike business deals. The idea that individuals who look better are thought to be healthier and have more positive social interactions in their past, which might influence their trustworthiness. So I'm not going to explain all the details of how they went about this, but they had a bunch of volunteers rate people on a scale of attractiveness, and then they put them into games with each other to test their selfless trustworthiness. And they did find out that attractiveness has very little to nothing to do with how trustworthy you are.
Not actual trustworthiness, just how people perceive you.
Just their perception of trustworthiness. Yeah.
And that makes, I feel like the rational person should be able to make that assumption themselves, that you treat somebody as an individual. And one of the hardest things maybe to do is to look past how someone looks and objectively look at their behavior and judge for yourself.
That is literally impossible.
It's, or try your best. Try your best.
That's fine, but that's literally impossible. It's just not how human brains work. It never will be.
Right.
I think even if you tell yourself all the time that you judge people based on their character and not their superficial features, it's not really true.
For sure. You can consciously know that there's a difference, but subconsciously you can't always be in control of how you react to.
It's your lizard brain.
Yeah, exactly.
It
It's
also
how you're
made
wired.
it made me think. I was listening to somebody talk last night about like the DeSantis shoe debacle and why couldn't he just embrace being short. Said because they're not going to elect a short president. They're not going to.
There have been short presidents though.
Not in the modern age.
And you only see them on TV.
You got to stand next to. If you got to stand next to other world leaders, how you look matters. And if you're going to go stand next to Putin or stand next to Xi Jinping, you can't be looking up at them and project an image of power.
Especially with the internet now, you will get roasted nonstop for something super arbitrary like that people, again, consciously know makes no difference in your ability to lead, but will lose you votes just because
it will.
We're we're intelligent, but it only goes so far.
We're fickle creatures.
Right. We're not perfect.
Yeah. So they concluded that when investigating actual behavior, beautiful individuals are neither more nor less trustworthy than anyone else. And they also found, this is interesting, although women are generally seen as more socially intelligent, they were not better than men at rating trustworthiness.
That's surprising.
The one of my favorite memes, it says like a woman's intuition is never wrong, and somebody says there's way too many single mothers out there for that to be true. Yeah. So it says, is it that the woman's intuition is bad, or is it that the guy is just really, really good at being deceptive? A little bit of both.
This also raises the question, do attractive people know that they're treated better just for their looks? And
is that actual unconscious bias? Like they just don't realize they're getting...
Do they even know that they benefit in society or in the job market from being attractive? And it seems like from these results, they actually aren't aware of it because they don't trust people any less. Like if you knew that people were treating you a certain way based on superficial features, then you might trust people less, but they were just as gullible as everyone else in the study.
Right. Critical theorists make that same argument about white people who say that they don't, just because you don't feel any different doesn't mean that you're not actually treated better. You just can't perceive it.
That's the thing though. I think pretty privilege is far more real than white privilege or male privilege, especially in this day and age. Like, I think the reality is the majority of people, at least for now, in the United States are white. Most people have an in-group preference for their own race. Therefore, that would mean there's a perception of white privilege, right? The majority of people in society are going to have an in-group preference for themselves, right?
I guess who would be the exception that seeps into that? It would be people who are exceptionally attractive still.
Sure.
So the pretty privilege still kind of trumps the
white privilege or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever privilege you put in there.
Yeah, and a lot of women have made that work in the business. One of the things you mentioned earlier that I thought was interesting is you're talking about how they would turn them now into, like in the movies or whatever, they turn them into doctors or lawyers or high intelligence positions. But what it would have been back in the day is a woman who's extremely beautiful would know how to use her beauty to her advantage, which shows a level of emotional intelligence and social intelligence that teaches her to use what she has available to her to get the most out of every situation that she enters. Now, in movies and stuff, they would probably portray it as borderline sociopathic in a way that they can.
I don't think so.
They can bend a situation or men to their will to get what they want. I'm saying in the most extreme or egregious
There's a line
of examples, right?
Feminine wiles.
You can use your
femme
feminine
fatale.
wiles. It's one of the reasons there's an old show called Republic of Doyle. Starring Alan Hocko. And what I liked about it is he plays a private investigator, and all of the women in the show are not all, but a lot of the women in the show, like all the men and the women are kind of two-timing because he's dealing with somewhat seedy people as a private investigator. And a lot of the women explicitly use their looks and sexuality to get what they want out of situations. And it's kind of a mixture of feeling both written by men and how they actually wish it would be, but actually quite honest about how a lot of people use what they have available to them to get what they want.
Well, it's interesting you say that those are probably written by men, like those scenes and those scenarios, because maybe that is how they truly perceive it, and the women are not aware of that they go into a room, they ask for a job or they ask for a raise or for whatever, and from the male perspective, it seems a lot more like flirty or something or whatever, and thus sways the situation and makes them trust the person more or makes them more inclined to give the attractive person the raise or whatever they're asking for.
And I always like that type of writing because you could say that it's disrespectful to women to write them that way, but then they write the men as just utter buffoons who fall for it every time, which I enjoy. It's like if there's few things that make
Just
men
utter buffoons.
stupider, it's sex. It is.
Right.
It makes men stupid.
Also, I wanted to play this TikTok from a professional advice influencer.
It's not a thing.
Talking about pretty privilege and how important it is to look hot when you do job interviews. So
how about just look presentable?
Well, she says you gotta look hot.
Okay, here we go. Oh, hold on. Volume.
Here, and I have a job interview. What's one of your best pieces of advice? Look really hot. What? I thought you were gonna say speak slowly, prepare questions, do your research? Yeah, those things are great, but you should really focus on looking attractive. Why? Because of the halo effect. The what now? The halo effect refers to a psychological bias that humans have. If we see a positive trait in somebody, like being conventionally attractive, we tend to assume other positive traits about that person. Like they're trustworthy, they're intelligent, they're responsible, even if we have no data to back that up. That's kinda messed up. It is. It's entirely unfair, especially considering our very narrow-minded societal ideals of beauty. But it's deeply embedded in human nature and something that everybody is guilty of, whether they know it or not. And that is why it is important for you to look hot as in your next job interview. Just look clean and put together, and this will subconsciously communicate to the interviewer that you are as put together as you look.
She changes her. She says, "Just look clean and put together." Okay.
She tones it down.
Iron your shirt. Okay. Iron your shirt. Put on some clean clothes. Wash your face. Do your hair. These are things that
as a woman, you need to do more than that.
The point, but that's not what she says here at the end. She says, "Look clean and put together," right? Like,
unfortunately, that's just bad advice. I don't know why she reversed on her own advice. Like, she kind of stepped back what she was saying, but you need to do more than just taking a shower and like being clean. Like, that's kind of the bare minimum. You need to go above and beyond.
Do your makeup right.
Things like that.
Men, comb your hair. Okay? Get a haircut before you go.
But why is this unfair? I think that until just a few years ago, right, it's not unfair at all. Until just a few years ago, I think everyone in society was kind of expected to look presentable when they leave the house or when they go to work. But now everyone just rolls out of bed and like puts on a pair of sweatpants and Crocs. And then they go to Wendy's and order food with AI.
Yeah.
And then they go home. But, you know, there's no expectation to be presentable in public anymore. And I don't think it's unfair to expect people to do that at all.
It's kind of very, very basic to assume that if this person is well kept, they do their makeup, they do their hair, they dress nice, that likely there's high levels of conscientiousness, which means that they probably take care of themselves on a regular basis. They pay their bills on time as best they can. They're organized.
They're willing to put in effort.
Those things are apparently what she said. What I feel like she's saying is like, those don't need to be communicated, but they absolutely do. And you don't do that by saying, I am conscientious. I get up on time. I take care of myself. You can portray that like 70% of communication is nonverbal, not just body language, but how you portray yourself outwardly to the world. That's not unfair.
It's just stupid how often we hear about white privilege and we hear about male privilege and about straight privilege and cis privilege and all these different forms of privilege, when the realest form of privilege of all is whether you win the genetic lottery and are naturally attractive. That is like the realest form. That and like and being raised in a wealthy family, probably both of those things are the realest form of privilege. But we don't hear about pretty privilege as much, because that would mean someone would have to admit to themselves and others that they are not attractive, and that's incredibly embarrassing.
I also think it's why they've worked so hard to change beauty standards.
Right.
It's one of the craziest ideas in the world is that instead of changing myself or working to change myself, I am going to try to change all of society's ideals of what beauty is.
Right.
That's bonkers.
I mean, yeah, but also it mentioned in the study that women rate other people as more attractive generally than they are.
That's funny.
I've always heard the opposite of that.
That like when men and women rate somebody, the women rate a few people very high and everybody else low, and men just kind of rate generally in the middle across the board or something like that.
Well,
right?
it says
averages out.
Women are on average rated as more beautiful than men, and they also rate others on average as more beautiful than men do.
I wonder if that's because the men are horny and the women want to tell the ugly women, yeah, you're beautiful, so they don't change, so they lower the competition. Of course.
But according to the study, they're not actually lying. They really think that.
Then maybe we've been wrong this whole time. Maybe all these women who say, Lizzo, you're beautiful, actually mean it.
Right. I feel like every other study has suggested the opposite. Or like when they take the Tinder statistics, and men never get swiped right on, but men will swipe right on literally every single woman.
Well, this is why we need to add a disclaimer or a caveat here, which is that there's a replication crisis in science right now. And basically, none of these studies actually mean anything.
They're fun to talk about, but bear very little weight.
Go off of your personal experience and your gut instincts more than whatever scientists are telling you about reality.
I try to tell people all the time, I'm like, people, like if you get into a fight on Twitter and you use anecdotal evidence, everybody gets mad at you. I'm like, we live and die by anecdotal evidence because you experience the world and then you make your base valuations on what's going on around you based on the things that have happened to you. I don't think in statistics as I'm existing. I'd say most of the time it feels like existing and basing your life on statistics is probably worse for you than evaluating what goes on around you and making your decisions based on that.
That's what happened during like COVID. You know, instead of just looking around, people were being told all these things that were framed as statistical.
Yes.
You know, like the right words were used so people believed the statistics because, you know, it's based on research and data.
My favorite was
science.
when I went outside right afterwards and they put like the boards over the basketball hoops so you can't play basketball. And I'm like, okay, a logical person can probably deduce that if we're talking about infections, a strong immune system and getting physical activity is good for you, right? That doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But if you're told otherwise and a dude in a white lab coat tells you that that's bad, then I guess it's bad. I've also heard that 98% of statistics are made up on the spot. Yes.
True.
Yep.
True. I believe it.
All right. Let's go to Super Chats.
Yurishima Otaru said, I'm okay with banning foreign government operations. Okay, but this okay, the TikTok US operations getting sold off to an American company is different because they already made the compromise that Americans' personal data would be in possession of an American company, not a Chinese company. So,
look, I just say
really, it's about controlling what Americans can post.
Right.
I want to stay around so that I have content to talk about on my show, on the show, right?
Me
like
too.
We want me and
Well,
Mary.
it'll just be reposted all over the place anyway.
YouTube Shorts.
Look, here's the thing. Instagram is hard to use as a like we don't use Instagram stuff on the show very often because the user interface on app or on web is way worse than on app. So just no.
On both. $20 from Francisco Sanchez Jr. for the dashing gentleman and pretty privileged on this podcast.
That's
heart
you
eye
ladies.
emoji.
It's wait, does that make me Dashing Dasovic? Thank you. That's would be my pro wrestling name if I was a pro
Brett
wrestler.
Dashovic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I go, but like whenever I eat too much, I usually post a picture of whatever I'm eating and say Fatsovic. So I'm happy with Dashsovic. That's perfect.
Kind of walk right into that one.
Let's get a second crisis party, guys. We're getting there, about halfway there.
Well, I don't even know anymore.
I know you can't tell
because of the meter. 200 Watt Studio said Tijuana has plenty of Ozempic, lots of pharmacies.
Go down there.
Okay. Might be a little bit sketchy.
Some of the earliest propaganda I remember seeing on the news was the things of like maybe it's not of like the old people getting off the bus in Canada to get prescriptions because we screwed up the medical industry here so bad. And I just remember seeing all those videos from politicians never able to fix it.
The Rumbling said Mary Oprah did or didn't admit she sold women down the river to Harvey Weinstein also. So who knows if Ozempic is her fat savior.
Maybe Harvey is her fat savior.
Is he dead yet? Or
no. He looks like he's about to die. Every time he goes to court, he literally looks like he's rotting from the...
Are they going to make a movie about him being innocent next?
Oh my God. They should make a movie called O.J. Steen, and it's about the two of them, and it's a buddy cop movie. It's a buddy cop movie where it's like him and Harvey are out on a road. It's a buddy road trip movie. They're running from their flight from it's called O.J. Steen, Flight from Prosecution, and they drive the car off the cliff like Thelma and Louise.
Great stuff.
I'd be down with that ending.
200 Watt Studio said a corn studio sounds amazing.
I get it. I see what you did there.
Sirico Productions said, I blame Harley Pasternak, TBH.
Could be.
But he hasn't been around Harley Pasternak for literally years, right? Yeah. Like, that must be some pretty intense MKUltra programming there. Dave Collins said, it's important to have people in your life who will tell you when your ideas are bad and stop you from doing crazy things. Kanye doesn't have anyone like that.
He wouldn't listen to them even if he did. That's the thing. When you're a hard-headed person, it does not matter.
Kanye is not the victim.
A lot of people would cite George Lucas as not have like when he did the sequel trilogy or when he did the prequel trilogy. They're like, you need somebody, George, come here. You need somebody who will tell you no.
It should be Bianca, right?
Yes,
right. This is his new wife.
She's too young.
She doesn't know any better. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like if someone's really there for you, they'll tell you the things that you don't want to hear. And at the cost of like even losing your friendship or relationship or whatever. So it's definitely Kanye that's cut out all the no men.
There was a photo of them out like walking together and someone captioned it, I wonder what they talk about.
What do they talk about?
It's like probably just him going on and on about how much of a genius he is while she nods
For sure.
Eats caviar.
She's getting what she wants out of that relationship, for sure.
I'm sure she is. Shane H. Wilder said the Cast Brew videos are on the PCC subreddit.
I've got...
do you want to pull those up?
I've got them here.
It is
the
best time to watch them.
Hold on.
Since Sarah's here.
Okay, so this one here, I will just look at this one from the top. It says it's a Mary Me. It says, I'm your granddaughter. Really?
It's not on our monitor right now. I think it can show up for everyone else, but not.
No, I'm just
Sarah.
looking at the top one first. You not seeing that one?
Yeah, the chat was pulled up in front of it.
Oh, okay. You guys can't see it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Volume. Oh, we're We're getting copyrighted on that.
Oh, come on, Shane.
Sorry, Shane.
Learn better.
Maybe it's less than 7 seconds, but I can't.
Wait, is he gonna throw it off the cliff?
Yeah, we're getting copyrighted on this one. I'm not playing the whole music. Sorry. As much as I love that movie.
Is he gonna throw it? I want him to throw it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I want him to throw it. Nope.
Does he?
Damn it. Okay.
Nope. It's just a pro coffee ad.
You got to repost that on the Cast Brew account when you get a chance, Sarah.
Why does Chris Pratt have to do Pringles commercials that air during the Super Bowl?
If I were to post that on the
Why
Cast
does
Brew
Arnold
YouTube,
Schwarzenegger
like,
have
would
to
we
do
get
ads
dinged
for State
for
Farm?
using the Lion King?
Do they?
Well, why do that?
Song?
That was the Cast Brew one. Oh, here's this. This is one he was talking about.
What?
Asking a question. That's what I have to do for every
You'd have
order.
to run very fast.
Yeah.
I like the Klondike slogan for Cast Brew. Crazy Cat said, Ghost Girl, how is saying your God blasphemy? Oh, in regard to Kanye, he was calling himself God. I don't know what you,
It's pretty straightforward.
yeah, I don't know what you heard me say earlier, but that's what he was saying in the interviews. Tacti Platty said, Brett, your meme has been made and delivered on X.
I checked him. That was what we were looking at.
Oh, okay, cool.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, Brett's new self-help book, Dude, Wash Yo Face.
I can write that.
The Last of My Kind said, hasn't been a short president since invention of TV.
There you go. See?
Short as in, like, what do you consider short? Anyone under 6 foot?
I mean,
or
yeah, I mean, like if the
Under
average
6
height of an
foot?
American male is 5'9",
That's-
he should break 6 feet.
So how tall was George Bush?
tall.
Should
Let me
be
see.
5'11" at the least.
Yeah.
Should be 6 feet tall.
Yeah. Okay.
Says he's exactly 5'11".
So he puts on those lifts.
But George H.W. is 6 feet.
Okay.
So he made the cutoff. But I want to know, like, I just didn't know that was like that big of a trend because there have been plenty of dictators who are male.
Yeah, they're
Napoleon.
dictators.
Yeah. And then who's the other? Oh, Alexander the Great. He was short.
Okay.
See,
Average height of the 45 presidents is 5'11" overall. That's the overall average.
See, that's the thing though. Like the shorter they are, the more tyrannical, right? It's like why you never want to get pulled over by a short cop. Okay, you never want to get pulled over by a short cop because they're going to be quick to push you around because they always have to prove to the other officers that they're not going to be taken advantage of,
Right.
that they're not going to
Like
be
a
seen as
chihuahua.
less masculine.
Right.
So, of course, a short person would be more dictatorial.
Absolutely. It's Chihuahuas are like the Napoleons of the dog world, and the
Also-
bigger dogs are less inclined to be barky.
I remember the whole discussion about rounding up 5'11" to 6 feet that was going on like this time last year.
Was there?
Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
if a guy says he's 5'11", or no, if he says that he's 6 foot, he's definitely 5'11" or maybe even 5'10".
Yeah.
Dang. It's so true though.
Like, what's the point in lying anyway? Like, if you don't want people to know how tall you are, just don't say. But yeah, it says the tallest president was Lincoln, and James Madison was the shortest at 5'4".
Short king.
Love a short king. Shane H. Wilder, I always worn a Sunday best to job interviews. If once I'm there, I see that the business is more relaxed, I'll switch to jeans or slacks if hired.
Yeah, you gotta put in the work at the very least for the job interview to signal to them that you understand the deal.
Yes.
Right?
Steve G88 said, I look forward to Wednesday because Sara is on.
There you
Oh,
go.
thank you.
That's polite Canadian money that came from. Whenever I see the CA, I'm like Canada, or I'm like California has their own money. I guess that could be true.
Might be
Commie
not
coins.
far off,
They should.
yeah.
Quiet Inari said, so did the awesome Brett show you the memes?
I
Guys, we showed the memes.
Awesome Brett did show us the meme.
I am awesome. Thank you.
DCNC said loving family over being attractive over rich family.
Yeah.
Oh,
wait,
in
like
terms
a loving
of
ugly family over
in terms
a
of
hot,
actual importance,
unloving family.
I mean, I don't think it's an either or, nor should you find your siblings hot.
What?
I just don't really get the
wording of that wasn't quite there.
the last of my kind said, grew my mustache out like Doc Holliday in Tombstone and genuinely say it keeps the ladies looking at my face, not my height. Find what works, fellas.
I think that's called peacocking.
This is what the glasses do for you?
I have no idea. That I tend to assume not. I assume that doesn't work that way.
They do suit you though.
I don't know how that works. I don't really think about it. I was just always aware that I was never going to be tall, so it never bothered me. Like being short was never one of those things that I ever.
You didn't expect it growing up.
No,
so.
my brother and my dad are both like maybe like an inch taller than me, so we're all kind of around the same height, and that doesn't. Really...
Do you feel like people talk about it more now than they did before, like 10 years ago, say?
I mean, it comes up more now because of all the discussions about men talking about men can't control how tall they are, but women can control how much they weigh, because that's always a discussion that ends up happening. I saw this video the other day.
It's a fair point.
Where this woman.
It's not a bad point.
Cannot argue that point.
A woman is saying how she wouldn't date a guy lower than a certain height. She was like, how tall are you? And they're talking about like you said, like, then just don't say. She's like, why won't you tell me? Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I wouldn't date a guy under this height. And he just drops a scale in front of her. And she's like, that's offensive. Of course, the whole point of this is to be ridiculous and over the top. It's as all these on the street interviews are. But if you're comfortable enough in who you are, your height shouldn't really be an issue. Different, I guess, a little bit depending on like I wouldn't date a woman taller than me. But that's just personal preference. But
that's offensive because she can't control if she's taller than you.
Sorry, I'm not going to WN. I was never going to WNBA games looking for love back in the day. That wasn't going to happen.
There was this video that was just making the rounds where this white guy was asked if there was a race that he wouldn't date, and he said he wouldn't date black women, and the two black women in the room were like like shocked and offended, and they were like, why? And he was like, I don't really have a reason, like I just wouldn't want to. Yeah,
he's like, you are conventionally attractive, I just am not attracted to you.
Yeah. And then when they asked the black woman if the same question, she said, I wouldn't date white men.
I don't believe like that. I believe that answer was specifically to get back at that dude.
As if he like were like, oh no.
I was thinking, okay, so I was thinking about that.
It's true though. There are black women out there who are not attracted to white boys,
which is fine.
And,
So what's more offensive? Is it more offensive to say that there's one race you're not attracted to, or would it be more offensive to say I'm only attracted to one race?
They both mean the same thing, don't they?
One says that you would date a spectrum of people of different races, but there's one that you wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
The other one says I would only date someone from this group.
Oh. I feel like if you're saying that about someone outside of your own racial group, that is weird.
That's hard to say because my knee-jerk reaction instinctually was to say that singling out one race is a lot more racist because you're putting that one. I mean, this isn't true, but people could perceive you as putting that race below all the other races. But then once you get into kind of like history and, you know, like white privilege and all that kind of stuff, very touchy subject. If someone were to say I would only date a white person, people would probably say that's racist as well.
Right.
It's not though. Attraction preferences are innate and not something that you can do anything about. And
totally.
It's not racist.
Well, I don't know if they're all innate, but doesn't really matter if they're innate or not. You can't force someone to be attracted to an individual or a group of people if they're not attracted to. I don't really know if they're innate.
We are $20 away from the second crisis party, by the way, guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
But it would be weird for someone for like, I don't know, to say I would only date like this other racial group that isn't mine, like only that, I would find that to be weird and not innate.
That's not racist. It's just a little weird.
It's just strange to me. Shane H. Wilder said, sorry about the Lion King one. It will not happen again. I just had to keep the clip from the movie for the bit. It's okay. We just hope we won't get dinged for that one.
Hope we don't.
I think I cut it early enough. I think we're good.
Quiet Nari said, no, LOL, the memes I sent you on Insta.
Oh, I don't ever pull up Insta on the show, but perhaps tomorrow or something. So if you send it on X, I have a better chance of seeing it.
Francisco Sanchez Jr. said blonde Brett equals chick magnet.
Well, that's very good. That wasn't the second crisis party. We were $20 away from the second crisis party, and things are just messed up today.
Oh, okay.
We need, I guess you could get a third crisis party for free.
Oh, nice.
We'll do a 3-for-2 special today if we get to the $20, but I don't know if we're gonna get there. We can just hang out.
Someone said, why won't you answer the question, how is calling things for what they are blasphemy? Okay, what I said is if you call yourself God, that's blasphemous. That's your answer. I hope that that's good for you. I hope that that's satisfactory for you.
Does that work? Correct.
Yeah.
We can just hang out. We could be here all night. We just hang out.
DC&C said, Mary said, 2 biggest privileges in life are 1, attractive, 2, rich family, not realizing loving family is a flex and a massive privilege. It is a massive privilege, but in terms of things that are quantifiable.
Yeah.
Attractiveness is quantifiable. Rich, that's quantifiable. It's kind of difficult to define what a loving family is.
Yeah, like the idea that you can get places through wealth because your family are able to open doors through connections and things like that.
We got a $20 from Courier626. Fine, Brett. Here you go.
Thank you. That means that we do get the. Let me make sure that it went through here. Yes, it does look like the thing is I always have to do this though. Yes, we have.
Nice.
They're gonna get a 3-for-2 special today. It's a fire sale on crisis parties.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Username I'm not going to read said, I don't want a president that can be mocked by other world leaders. Also, Skyler is awful. Walt just wanted to be a Sigma and she wouldn't let him.
He really is the king of so we can go back to discussion because I saw crazy cat in the chat was saying that I derailed the discussion. So if we want to go back to the Skyler discussion, I'm happy.
Okay, yeah, their bias is going on. What?
What is happening?
Wow, you guys
now they're
all the free crisis parties today. First of all, Crazy Cat was mogging me because I didn't care to finish Breaking Bad. Called me a fake geek girl. Ouch.
Fake geek girl.
Ouch. Sorry. Guess what? Didn't finish Game of Thrones either.
Wow. Too busy skating.
Breaking Bad is a very mainstream show that is not for geeks at all.
And I can't believe you didn't finish it. You'll watch the Wire like 20 times in a row.
Yeah.
And you'll watch Kermit in the Gulag.
Yeah.
But you won't watch Breaking Bad.
Okay, I didn't choose Kermit in the Gulag.
You'll watch Once Upon a Time.
Yes.
Brett's watching Once Upon a Time right now.
The Disney princess one?
Yeah. He's literally watching that.
I didn't even watch that when it came out.
I've never watched any of the I realized it last night because we were talking about Snow White. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really know anything about this. If I watched any of these as a kid, I know nothing about it. And I was like,
you should go back and watch all the Disney princess movies and do a review.
The show.
Stop being such a contrarian.
The show is more modern, and yeah, I'm like 2 episodes in.
Okay.
I'm like going. It's a You Contain Multitudes. As I'm going between The Wire, Once Upon a Time, and rewatching old episodes of what was the other one?
Think.
I can't remember. I go through like 4 shows at a time. Newsroom. I've started Newsroom.
Yeah. So, okay, really quickly about, what is it called? Once Upon a Time? I forgot about that show until last week, actually. Sarah Noble, who her upbringing, like her mom was very strict about what she watched, but she said that once a week, that was like the only show that her and her sister were allowed to watch for like TV time. So it is a very like wholesome,
it's got a wholesome
show.
vibe to it. Jennifer Morrison was in House. She was great. Also, funny story from what I learned on the show, the guy who plays Prince Charming and the girl who plays Snow White, Jennifer Goodwin, got married in real life 2 years after the show started, and they're still married today. with multiple children.
Very
wholesome of the day,
wholesome.
right there.
Romantic.
But I don't want to do. You guys now I'm getting mogged and it's getting derailed. I want you guys to actually.
Why do
discuss.
you keep doing that? Because you keep derailing the conversation.
I'm sorry, I'm so interesting. So, Skyler, go ahead, debate. Skyler.
Okay, so
Wait, what? What
Debate
are we?
Skyler.
Why are we supposed to debate Skyler?
Because I did derail the conversation earlier, and I don't know if you guys got to say everything you needed to say about whether Skyler actually got a
There's
bad
no
rap.
debate. You keep just derailing this conversation. Clearly, you don't want us to have it, Brett.
Derailed. No, she brought up Once Upon a Time, and then I had to explain myself.
I don't know what's going on.
Skyler is just what happens to every middle-aged woman with kids.
Is it true? Does it have to be that way?
It has to be
I
that
think
way,
it was
Mary. I'm
just
sorry.
because,
you and I
like,
will be that way.
Walt made her more annoying than she was to begin with.
She for sure had more to complain about. Like, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an extreme. Her husband became a meth, not only dealer,
He
but
was a
cooker.
meth dealer. He was a Riz
cooking up
lord.
meth,
How
dude.
else could he possibly have all those gyats?
I do like he is
So
the
was
like,
she a nag? Yeah, but can you blame her?
Walter White is the king of the Sigma videos. Like all the Sigma videos are made about him and Jesse.
But not Jesse, just Walt.
Well, it's usually him
What's
responding in a
Jesse?
cool way to something
Right.
Jesse says. That's like, oh, that's so Sigma. That should
Oh,
be his
and,
next show. Oh, that's so Sigma.
Obviously, Peaky Blinders is the other,
Yes,
like the
yeah.
main
Yep.
Sigma grind set avatar.
Yep.
Of course.
Everyone hits his wife too, right?
Really? I didn't even
Peaky
know he was
Blinders?
married in the show.
Oh, I may be thinking of a
I never
different show
watched
then with
it.
Jason Bateman. What's that show? Jason Bateman. They
Ozark?
deal drug. Yeah.
Oh.
Ozark.
His wife also, like, I don't know.
That is like what they imagine Skyler.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like Skyler on steroids.
Yeah.
I never watched Ozark.
So yeah, Skyler is. I mean, I just think is that the doomed role of all women in society if they have
I
kids?
really disagree with that. I've met
Yeah.
too many older women who are totally not like that to believe that is the fate of all women.
You could say that is actually the fate created for you by Hollywood nihilism. The same way that they portrayed middle America as a prison for 2 decades, telling you, oh my God, working a 9-to-5 job with benefits, the shame, the outrage, the pain and misery. And now people are like, I would love a 9-to-5 job with benefits and a pension plan. Like, Office Space, make that for me today. I will not be that guy. I will just go to my job and
We
be fine.
need a Zoomer version of Office Space. I think that would be great.
Yeah, they should remake that movie. That would be a fun, like.
Well,
cool
we're going to
movie
be talking about
actually
No
remake.
Space tomorrow, but that's something completely different.
MySpace.
Yep. Is that all of them? Did we get through all of them?
We're caught up.
All right, guys. All right, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please? Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Please and thank you. And Sarah, thank you.
Thank you guys, as always, for having me on Women Wednesday. Castbrew.com, and follow us on Twitter at CastBrewCoffee if you haven't already.
Perfect.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you would like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify, if you would prefer to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok because they're banned, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.